What are you doing? Come here. Come here. Why do you have to jump up right where I put my camera? Did you just fart? Ew. I don't feel like I ever smell you fart, but definitely just farted. You definitely just farted. Well, you're sick, so it's okay. The overhead lighting was awful, so I turned off the light, and I'm gonna use this phone flashlight, but I feel like it's a lot, so let me turn that down. I don't know, I've been wanting to, there's too much is going on in my head, like all the time, but recently especially, it's actually crippling sometimes. I've been having some realizations. It's hard to call them realizations, because I already knew this about myself. I already knew these certain things about myself, but I didn't realize how much it actually extended into my entire life, not just like my relationships. The term codependent I've never really identified with. Firstly, because before I knew what it actually meant, I assumed it meant like you relied on someone for everything, like the person that you're with like takes care of you, and sort of like a parental figure relationship. That's just what I assumed before I knew what it meant. And then once I learned what it meant, I mean years ago, I was like, yeah, I definitely have some characteristics of a codependent person, but a lot of it I don't really necessarily relate to, because I don't feel like my worth comes from always being there for every single person, like always putting every single person before myself. I know that I always put the people that I love before myself, to my detriment, and even people that I don't necessarily love, but like it doesn't matter. But yeah, so I just thought, you know, yeah, I have a lot of codependent traits when I'm in a relationship, but I don't necessarily think I would label myself as a codependent, and labels are not necessarily helpful anyway. I mean, sometimes they are, but it's frustrating because for the past few days it's like I've been wanting to film and talk about this, and it's like I'm literally filming the video in my head, like I know what I want to say, and now as I'm sitting here to film it, I'm like, I don't really even know how to explain this. Well, this light makes my hair look really dark. By the way, I'm not in Scottsdale. Well, I wasn't gonna be there yet anyway. I was gonna be there. My flight was tomorrow evening, but I'm not going, which kind of leads into what I'm talking about. I guess maybe to start this off, I'm gonna read a text that I sent my mom yesterday, which she actually didn't reply to. I feel like every time I send her a text, she doesn't freaking reply. And it's my dad's birthday today. I literally, before I started filming this, I was gonna FaceTime my mom and dad. It's like I always want, I've talked about this before. Actually, that might be in one of the videos that I never uploaded. Okay, by the way, I should put this at the beginning of the video, but I have about 7 to 8 videos and then like random footage from November up until mid-January, I would say, and they're really heavy and really personal, relating to and documenting things that I was going through, which if you've been watching my channel, you know that I was pregnant and I lost her on January 1st. And then like I was broken up with. Well, I guess I broke up with him. I don't know. He hasn't spoken to me in over 2 months, and just all of these things that have been super heavy and traumatic. I took off a lot of January from filming anything really, but I had been filming sort of my thoughts, and even I think like going to my appointments. And anyway, I have been thinking about it, and I just was looking at the videos like in my Final Cut library and thinking like so many of my videos and like my recent videos have been just not feel good, and that's fine because I'm more of a share my life type of person, which every time I try to like not do, and I try to just like do focused content on any platform, like I always end up going back to sharing my life, because it is like amazing the sort of community that builds from that. But anyway, ultimately I want my videos to be entertaining and to be an escape, but also to be real and to be helpful. So I think as long as there's a good mix of like, wow, that's some really dark shit that I'm going through and I'm gonna share it, but also just like more lighthearted things, because I personally consume both types of content, you know, like I appreciate content that's super real and raw and could relate to something that I've felt or am going through, and then I also need those videos that are sort of mindless, and so I want to have both. And I just like, it would be a lot to put all of those on my channel, but I want to remove them from my computer. So what I've decided is that I'm gonna put them on Patreon. I've had this Patreon since 2017, I think. I used it pretty much daily for like 3 years. Once I started doing OnlyFans in 2020 is when that slowed down a lot, and then I think now it's more just like 1 or 2 tiers. But I want to put those videos up on Patreon, and not even, I mean, if you want to, what is the term for Patreon? It's not subscribe, it's join or something. Join. If you want to join and watch them, that's great. Or if you're already a patron, because I know that there's people that are just fucking amazing and they're still patrons of me, then that's amazing. But I also just want to upload the videos, have them somewhere, and like release them, and because they are really heavy. It's maybe like some of them, I've said a lot on YouTube and I've shown a lot on YouTube, but I've never held on to like videos for this long. That's how I know that it also does scare me to like put up on YouTube, aside from wanting to get back to making like more lighthearted or just entertaining, mindless things. It does scare me to put that online, and Patreon has just always felt like a safe place. Honestly, I should go back to doing it the way that I used to, because it's just, it was such an outlet for me. So yes, all that to say, and I've never deleted anything, so it's like you could literally scroll back to 2017. That's actually terrifying. Yeah, I'll figure that out, and I'm gonna upload them. By the time this video is up, I'm sure they'll be on Patreon, or at least I'll have started uploading them. It's a lot. Anyway, I haven't even talked about what I wanted to. Sorry if you can hear Poke snoring. She was really sick. Now she's like super stuffy and sneezing, so she snores whenever she breathes. So what I want to talk about, just because like it helps me to talk about things and not just keep them in my head. I was gonna read this message. All of that started is because I was gonna say I always want to call or text my mom for some reason, even though like I know I'm never like given comfort from her, whereas with my dad he's very good at, which is amazing because he didn't used to be. He's very empathetic and he can just listen and also like be there with me. Like, I am so sad for you, I am hurt for you. My dad is really good at that now, but like there's just this part of me that is always just wanted, and so I used to, like in college, would just like call my mom and be crying, and like I never felt better afterward, but I still kept doing it because I just want that. I want that relationship with my mom that I have never been able to have. And I was gonna say, I've talked about this, but I realized that I think that whole video where I was talking about like my parents is one of the videos that I'm gonna put on Patreon. So anywho, I texted her yesterday night and I said, I miss you, everything is so hard lately. And she said, I miss you too, sorry things feel hard lately. I feel the same lately too. Sometimes life feels very overwhelming, just try to take a day at a time. Not sure these help or apply, but I read them tonight and I liked them. And she sent these 2 photos of quotes. And the first one says, the peace you're seeking is waiting on you. That just stopped recording, and I don't know when, but I was saying, without getting too into it, these quotes make a lot of sense for my mom. We're opposite in the sense that she has a lot of shame, and she has a lot of, I don't want to get too much into it, it's not, a lot of like rigidity with thinking and like being in the same cycle for your entire life and having it nothing else to ever challenge the way that you think and act. My new ice maker is so loud. And just like talking about admitting how you're part of the cycle, like we're opposite in this sense. Like I immediately jump to that in my head when I'm going through something. Like, what am I doing? How did I contribute to this? Even if I feel like I am the victim, or if objectively I'm the victim, or if I feel like I was wronged, the first thing that I jump to is my part in, that is so so loud is like my part in it. And since I was like in my since I was a teenager, I remember talking to my sister about reprogramming how we were raised and breaking cycles, like early on. I mean, I'm talking like 17, which I think is pretty early to be like talking about and acting on like breaking cycles and generational things, and realizing that like everything that I was taught and the way that I was forced to live for so long is not the only way, and it's not the right way, and there's so much out there. So anywho, I feel like, I know she was trying to be helpful, but these 2 quotes, I was like, I already have the awareness, I'm already trying, I'm already doing as much as I can to change certain things. Like I truly am. I truly have been. This is the most like inner work I've done in a couple years, probably since 2020. And not just inner work, but like this is the most painful period that I've ever had in my life, from November to, you know, now, I guess. I mean, November to January, we'll say. And I wasn't oblivious to it. I wasn't like, this is all happening to me. None of this is, like, I don't have a part in this and I can't change it. Like, that's not true. So I said that, and then I said, I also don't know if I'm even grieving properly and what else I'm supposed to choose. Because the quote saying, like, to choose to do things differently. Yeah, I get it. Like, it applies to other things, but, like, as far as me texting her that I was hurting and everything is hard, you know, my mom had a full term, not even a stillborn, because she lived for a couple of weeks before she passed. My older sister right above me. And she's had late miscarriages. So I think that's another reason why in the past couple of years, when I've gone through like my ectopic pregnancy and then this, I want to be able to go to my mom, because you would think more than anyone, because not only has she been through it, but she's my mom, and you know, that she would be able to help. Oh, I don't want to cry. So yeah, anyway, I was like, I don't even know, like, I know there's no way to grieve properly, and I feel like I'm putting so much pressure on myself to make sure that I am feeling my feelings and not suppressing them, because I know that that's probably the worst thing you could do. But I also, after a certain point, was trying to have a balance of like, I want to go out and have fun also, and I want to focus on work also. And it's just so hard to, I don't know how to balance, which is ironic because I'm a fucking Libra, or I do know how to balance, but it's like, it's never good enough for me. I still haven't gotten to the thing, but basically just, I don't know if I'm grieving properly and blah blah blah. And I said every night I have nightmares. This is gonna suck to edit. I've been talking for so long. I said every night I have nightmares where I'm back in the hospital. I didn't even want to elaborate on that, because that's not really what it is. I've been like, I hardly sleep, and when I do sleep every night, I sometimes have nightmares that I'm in the hospital and it's the exact thing that actually happened, and I'm sort of just reliving it. Except for when I dream, it's always third person, so I'm watching myself. I think it's pretty rare. Oh my gosh. Yeah, when I dream, it's like I'm watching myself. It's not like it's in first person, and so it's like I'm watching everything that happened. But then other nights, it's like really gruesome and fucked up and terrifying. I don't even want to provide details. It's a lot. Anyway, then my mom said, there's no proper way, everyone's different. I've had the frequent nightmares after trauma or tragedy. Time is a big healer, and filling your life with some good things. Prayer and finding things to be grateful for, even when it's hard. And she said, outward focus versus inward makes you feel better about yourself too. Plus it takes you out of feeling so much of your own misery. And then she was going to bed. I was gonna say, I get it. I get that, outward focus versus inward. It's just kind of strange, because she knows me, and she knows, maybe I'll just read what I said back, because it'll maybe explain more. But I think I'm so codependent that I'm always focusing outward and not on myself, and it's quite literally so foreign to me to try and figure out how to take care of myself. Even when I do the things, it feels weird and wrong. I feel like my purpose is always someone else, and so then when they're gone, it's a huge panic. With Daniel, then I tried to direct it toward the baby. Then I spent weeks literally feeling like I had no purpose and no reason for existing. Then I started spending lots of time with Courtney, and I recently realized I'm just doing it again with her. I don't even know my own needs. I only know the needs of the person or the people that I'm hyperfixated on. And then once that's gone, it's like I can't even breathe on my own. She didn't reply to me, but I do think it's good advice for most people, you know, outward focus. Also inward though, like you have to feel your shit, you have to heal your shit. But for me, I sure I can recognize my needs, maybe, but it's to the point where like for so many years I haven't been taking care of myself in that way that like I would have to, I'm trying to really like genuinely focus and put energy into taking care of myself in that way. Like as an example, right now I'm sitting on my couch. I never sit on my couch. I always sit on the floor, or if I'm working, I'll be at my desk. I always sit on the floor. I've done it most of my life, even when it's so uncomfortable and I'm like sick. I don't acknowledge that like I should be comfortable. It's hard to explain, I don't know. Point is, like, it takes like a concerted effort for me to even remotely start meeting my own needs. And yeah, I guess I don't know what a lot of them are, but I could tell you and show you how I meet the needs of the people that I love and the person that I'm in a relationship with, or my best friend, or my family, or someone at the time that I'm spending a lot of time with. Like I could tell you, like I flew out of the state so many times in the last month to go be with my friend, and it was great, it was healing, and then it was also fun, which is healing. But I was about to go again, and like I said, I realized I'm doing it again, and I'm really taking care of her. As I mean, I say she's going through a hard time. She is mentally. Her breakup happened last June, and she's having a really hard time still with it. And I have been the one that's constantly there, and even like she works in a restaurant, and whenever she's not working, she really expects me to be like 24/7 replying to her constantly, and I do because I love her, care about her, but it's not reciprocated. And like I'm the one, just like with my relationship, like I'm the one putting in all the effort, essentially being, you know, the masculine energy and not being in my feminine energy. And then also that's just codependency, because it's like I feel like I only have purpose and worth when I'm taking care of someone. Or taking care of sounds weird, but you know, being there for someone, going out of my way constantly for someone at my own expense. And that's the only time that I feel comfortable, and it's so uncomfortable for me to do anything but that. And I did that this week. A couple days ago I kind of stood up for myself, and now I haven't talked to, you know, my best friend in a couple days because of it. And it seems like anytime I have stood up for myself, or even just like backed off a little bit and not done so much, the reaction is always like so bad that it almost like affirms to me like, okay, yeah, no, I need to go back to doing what I was doing, where I'm like doing everything and taking care of everything and going above and beyond all the time for someone, because that's where I feel comfortable and that's where I feel like I have a sense of purpose. And it's true, like when my ex and I stopped talking, I truly felt that it was a miracle that I just tried to put all of that into growing a baby, and I anticipated heavily what it would be like when she was here, and how everything would be okay when she was here. And that's another thing that's like, it's still, I still haven't gotten to a place with that where, I don't know, it's very confusing. But then when she's gone, so much of this past few months, like, it was all so visceral as it was happening, but when I look back, I'm like, I feel like it's still November, like I don't remember the last few months as a whole. It sort of all comes down to when you strip away, you know, genetics and my upbringing and the patterns that I've been in. If you strip away all that, which is important, but if you strip it away for a second, it sort of all comes down to like purpose. I've always felt that my purpose is to help people. Before I even knew how to like put that thought together, or like before I even knew what a purpose was, like I remember as a little ass kid just feeling like I should always be the one to like protect other kids from whatever, to go out of my way to make other people happy, to defend other people. That's always been in my nature. And then as I've gotten older, I remember when I first started my blog, like it was always like, I feel like I'm supposed to be sharing what I went through and what I'm going through in order to help other people. And like it's just everything that I've gone through in life, because we all go through things, the frequency and like the heaviness of things that I've gone through, sometimes I don't want to sound like this is not like a pity thing. It's just I'm trying to be like objective about it, as objective as someone can be when you're talking about like traumatic and difficult life things. But like there have been a lot, and maybe more than like average in my life, and I've gotten to a point in the last few years where like maybe not my first thought, but my second thought is like, I'm supposed to go through this so that I can help people, you know, once I'm through it, and I can share my story and I can help people that are going through it, or might go through it, or know someone was going through it. Maybe in doing that, I'm sort of like manifesting more horrendous things to happen to me. I don't know. I don't know. I'm questioning fucking everything that I believe about the universe, about just life, like everything's already predetermined, or like am I actually, by thinking that way, which is positive, like to help people, but like am I just bringing more shit upon myself? I don't know. And then the reason that's so horrible, like that mindset is so horrible for me, is that once I don't have that purpose, which gets directed into like a boyfriend, I don't know, why am I existing? Because my whole life I felt that that is the reason for my existence. Sometimes I'll be like, why do I still get these like, I still get this like gut-wrenching, heartbroken feeling about like the breakup, and I'm like, why am I still sometimes getting that? And it's really not about the person. If I really think about it, it's like I'm not really thinking about the person. It's more just like the emptiness within myself. What's the point now? Like, but I know that I can't just like jump to something else, to someone else. Keep stopping. I don't know if my card's full or what. I'm stopping myself from continuing the pattern. You know, even before I had the realization about my friend, I was like, well, I'm not gonna get into a relationship until I can like figure out how to just navigate this better. Like I have to rewire my fucking brain, you know. I have to have purpose has nothing to do with anyone else. And while it's like a good thing to want to help people, it became my entire identity. And I don't know how long, but for more of my life than it wasn't. And that's not good if there's also not, I don't love myself, and I can't even identify how to take care of myself. And so, you know, you can't love someone until you love yourself. I don't believe that, in the sense that, yes, you can absolutely love someone and not love yourself. However, I think that quote should be changed to, you shouldn't love someone until you can love yourself, because you can, and if you're like me, you will, and yourself will get pushed and pushed and pushed to indifference, or even hatred, or just like neutral. Like you're not even like a soul anymore, you're just like a vehicle that is helping others. So yeah, you can love someone before you love yourself, but I don't think you should. I don't want to anymore. It's hard though, because I had gotten to a point where I was doing really well before my ex. I'd been single for a year and a half, did a lot of work in that time, and I really thought I was like immune to falling back into old patterns and cycles, and it just sort of insidiously happened. But also I would rationalize with myself like, well, I'm just doing this because I want to, and it makes me happy to make someone else happy. But the problem is like when it's not reciprocated, and it's just so unbalanced, and also there's like verbal abuse happening. It's just like, there's a difference between like, I'm doing this because I want to, because it's in my character, and this person deserves it, and I'm just going to forget that I exist and like make my whole life about this other person. And I don't really know. I don't know how to end this. I'm not gonna end this because I feel like I have a lot more to say, you know, but it's so hard when like I can't prevent myself from helping people on a day-to-day basis, because that's not a good thing. But how do I also detangle it like from my actual identity, and how do I like intertwine other things while still having that as like a purpose and like a part of me? It's just so hard when like your entire life for 28 years it is wrong to put yourself first and to identify your feelings and genuinely believe that it's okay to feel that way, and because you were told not to feel a certain way, to then not tell yourself don't feel like that, and like you're fucking stupid for feeling like that, and don't. I just wish I could step outside of my body and treat myself the way that I treat everyone else that I'm close with, because I know how to do that, but I don't know how to do it when it's me, because of the fact that my brain is connected to my body, and everything about it feels wrong. It feels like I'm committing murder or something. I don't know. It just feels icky, and I need to get to a place where it doesn't feel like I'm fucking committing a crime and a heinous sin to take care of myself. To not feel like if I do, then it's not in line with my values of, I don't know, guys, this is a lot. It's also just frustrating to like have the insight and the awareness and even starting to take steps, but it's just not clicking. It's like, it's just frustrating, you know? It just sort of like reaffirms me feeling like not good enough, or like not worth trying for myself, so it just makes me want to like outwardly focus even more on. It's a weird sort of paradox. I'm so aware, and if I was just someone else I could do it, but because my brain is attached to my body I can't. I need to stop this. But yeah, I'm gonna put videos on Patreon. Oh, my foot's asleep. I was gonna go to a yoga class, but it actually already started because I've been talking for so long, so I'm gonna get back to filming when it feels good and when it's more positive. Like I said, not that it's bad to like occasionally pop on here with like some very not the most uplifting content, but I don't want that to be what I'm putting out into the universe, into the world. Thank God my sister is back from India in like a week and a half. Oh my God, she's been gone since September, so over 6 months. Yeah, honestly, just to let myself just be real for a second. The fact that like my future, what I thought would be my future, changed so drastically, and then changed so drastically again, and then changed drastically again, and I don't have like the capacity to plan for my future right now. Like I'm still in this house. I'm not gonna be living here as of January. I don't. Go to Patreon if you want to see my videos from the past few months. I believe it's patreon.com/Annalise, and I'll link it below. I have to pee.